Hello and welcome to IdArmed Reviews. I hope you enjoy your stay as I review figures from the Transformers franchise and other toy lines as well. For my first review today, we'll be taking a look at the Transformers Generations War for Cybertron Earthrise Deluxe Class Smokescreen. Smokescreen released as a part of Wave 2 in the latter half of 2020 to much delay in the United States, and he takes the appearance directly from his appearance in the Sunbow Generation 1 cartoon. Smokescreen's vehicle mode with this release approximates a rally car variant of the Datsun 280ZX Turbo, molded in blue, black, white, and smoky clear plastic along with red and white paint applications throughout. Smokescreen's colors pop hard compared to the rest of the classic Datsuns from Generation 1. With the straight red paint markings and the perpendicular white stripes, Smokescreen has a flow to his deco that just makes it so appealing to look at. The vehicle mode's design itself is the same as just like the Siege version of this character released last year. It just has a smooth and sleek appearance that makes you wish you could drive this bad boy in real life. Taking a look at Smokescreen next to 35th anniversary Blue Streak from last year over here, you can tell where a lot of the design cues for the Siege Datsun show up here on Smokescreen, just with a more earthy design aesthetic as is expected. However, compared to the Siege Datsun mold, the addition of more overall paint and a spoiler on the back make the Earthrise Datsun mold feel just a little bit more complete as a vehicle overall. However, for how excellent Smokescreen's alt mode looks overall, I do have some minor faults with it though. One that can easily be fixed is the lack of paint for the rear headlights, leaving it as a sea of blue plastic compared to the Siege Datsun mold, which did have some really nicely painted headlights. However, with some paint you can easily repaint that. One fault of Smokescreen and the rest of the Datsun's alt mode that, however, cannot be easily ignored and has drawn the ire of a lot of the collecting community is the fact that he has clip-on wheels, revealing pegs that are pretty much unavoidable to see due to them being blue plastic. Luckily, with the advent of 3D printing being a very consumer-friendly hobby, lots of people have come up with interesting upgrade kits for the Datsuns in order to hide those hubcap wheels. I've seen an upgrade kit on TF Safari. I'll make sure to link it into the description for people to see. It's really neat how this stuff is just pretty common nowadays. However, one undeniable positive about the clip-on wheels for Smokescreen is just how well he rolls as a result of it. Bruh. Moving past that shockingly bad attempt at humor, Smokescreen can have all of his accessories attached onto the hood and roof of his car, with said accessories being a pair of shoulder missiles and his signature rifle. Molded in blue plastic, all three differ in sculpting from the Siege Datsun mold, with the missiles being much smaller and the rifle being, well, better. One additional fan mode-ish feature not mentioned is that due to the transformation, the doors can actually open like a real car. However, I'm not sure if I'd want to sit in an interior with a weird dumpy looking robot face. You know, speaking of Smokescreen's robot mode, let's get on with that transformation, shall we?
Hey, so it's me, IdArmed in the flesh. Wow. So, if you've ever messed with the Siege Datsuns, Earthrise Smokescreen is going to feel very familiar, but with just a few subtle changes. He really does feel like his own and maybe even a natural evolution to the Siege Datsuns from last year. So where I like to start is just opening up the doors. And you want to come here and you're going to take like the entire rear end, bring it out. And this will allow you, after kind of pulling everything out, to swing the legs out and rotate. Let's work on the legs now. Split them here. Fold these gap fillers out. They don't work all too well, but we'll get into that later. Flip the heels out, and we're done with the entire bottom half in just what feels like a few steps. Now we're going to come up here and we're going to swing the arms out, and they're going to flip out, and you're going to want to just shoot them all the way out. Contract the whole assembly. But before that, actually, you want to flip down this flap, which is up here, and then it just pushes itself in. And then get everything situated. Well, I'll kind of sort of tab in, but then you'll finish it off by clicking. You're going to tab the arms assemblies into the torso. Everything's situated. We'll get into accessories later, but for now, Earthrise Smokescreen is in his robot mode.
You know, since late 2018, lots of people have been saying that War for Cybertron is the line where Chug can now compete with Takara's Masterpiece line, and figures like Smokescreen here really do help to show that maybe that argument is valid to an extent. with a lack of unneeded hollow parts, paint applications from the vehicle mode that pop, and his faithfulness to his appearance in the Generation 1 cartoon, Smokescreen here really does feel like a masterpiece light. Looking at MP19 Smokescreen with his Earthrise counterpart, there's a very obvious attempt by Hashtag to imitate it as much as the $20 price point can allow, and I'd say they did it very well. And then compared to the lanky, undercolored, but still pretty good, Siege Datsuns from 2019, Earthrise Smokescreen has a body type and color palette that just gives him a greater presence amongst your Autobots. The play features included with Smokescreen help to make him a much more fun experience. His accessories from before in the vehicle mode can either be used in the typical Datsun, shoulder missiles, and rifle configuration, or they can be combined to form a triple-barreled rifle thingy with free blast effect ports on them. And with 11 combat ports and free blast effect pegs on Smokescreen himself, the War for Cybertron experience is great on this guy. Like all figures though, Smokescreen has some flaws that take the figure down a few notches from being perfect, but I guess to myself they're more so nitpicks. Getting to my biggest aesthetic problem out of the way is the head sculpt, which contains what is probably the greatest double chin in any toy line ever, with the exception of animated Sentinel Prime. For real though, while it isn't a deal breaker, it is a little off-putting to have such a simple geometric head on a very smooth vehicular body, if that really even makes any sense. The other big flaw I have with this figure, and something that isn't as subjective, is the fact that the entirety of his lower legs are made out of clear plastic. While for now I know they'll stay pristine as long as I don't ham-hand it like your average TFW user, I am worried that in 10 years they'll explode on me. But for the moment, I must just appreciate how close to perfect this bot mode is otherwise.
Moving on to articulation, Earthrise Smokescreen has a lot of articulation. For Deluxe in War for Cybertron, this might be a little bit normal, but still, compared to what we were getting in Titans Return, Power to Primes, Combiner Wars, it's still shocking. So, starting at the head, we do have a full 360 ball joint with a lot of range, actually. So you can look up that far. He doesn't really look down, but then you can get, like, just side to side. And there's no clearance issues. Door wings can move back about one notch. They can't move back any far because of the whole, like, hood. Which is good for the arms, because with the doors out, they can do a whole 360, which is nice. They can swing out that far, but then if you just untransform him a bit, you can swing them up higher. Swing him back down. You get a full bicep rotation in both arms. Elbow bend up to about 90 degrees. Wrist swivel. Going full 360. The waist does a full unimpeded 360. You can swing the legs up this far. They hit the bumper, so they can't go up any higher. They go back that far, which is still pretty respectable. Moving the arms out quickly. You can do the splits. And having these back in. You get a full thigh rotation. You get a bend at the knee going pretty much like as deep as you would want. And then you get the full works with the foot as you get forward and back, and an ankle tilt. So, Smokescreen has exemplary articulation for his size class.
Standing at about 5.5 inches, Earthrise Smokescreen reaches about the same height as most War for Cybertron carbots. Here's a size comparison with Power to Prime Soulless Prime, the Earthrise Autobot clones, Earthrise Wheeljack, 35th Anniversary Blue Streak, a larger Deluxe, Earthrise Trailbreaker, and Earthrise Leader Class Optimus Prime. When Smokescreen was announced at this year's New York Toy Fair, I was pretty uninterested as I was more inclined to collect the Siege Datsuns, but as time went on I decided to eventually get Smokescreen alone to get the taste of this new mold, and now I don't regret it one bit. While there are some minor faults I have with this figure both aesthetically and in the actual design, Smokescreen is an excellent example of what is making War for Cybertron such a great line to collect. With a fun transformation, neat weapons, and a fantastic appearance and amount of articulation, I cannot recommend Smokescreen enough. I'm definitely picking up his fellow G1 Datsuns, as long as I can get my hands on Blue Streak. Thanks, Walgreens. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate it if you could like and subscribe to support the channel, as well as check out my friends' channels down below for the help and advice they gave me as to how to start up this whole YouTube thingy. Next time we'll be taking a look at a Takara figure that many might say will become obsolete come next spring, but is one I have a soft spot for, that being Takara Legends Blur. See you next time, and thanks for watching!